The idea of change, my friends, can be an exhilarating concept to consider. It challenges us to be open to new ideas, take calculated risk, and experiment with different approaches to solving problems and coming up with innovative solutions. Since its founding in 2017, Bloom Bar has been the preeminent destination for nightlife in Ghana's capital of Accra, renowned across the continent for their signature cocktails, down-to-earth ambience, expert mixologists, and memorable vibes, which give it a competitive advantage. The concept for Bloom Bar was envisioned by lifelong friends and business partners Keith, Edwin, Ndeki, and Kofi Adjei Maafo as a way to bring their love of elevated hospitality to their home and to create a must-visit open-air bar experience for Ghanaians of all types and tourists as well. Bloom Bar has become a sought-after venue for others to emulate elevated nightlife and hospitality across Western Africa and beyond. As a lifelong entrepreneur, Kofi has prioritized contributing to the business development future of Ghana and West Africa, working across multiple industries, including agriculture, hospitality, and fitness. And now, this international business leader is bringing the Bloom Bar concept to the United States, expanding to Atlanta in the near future. And Kofi joined me this week to tell me more about how the Bloom Bar concept is revolutionizing the field of hospitality and what other business owners can learn about implementing the same concept to elevate not only their nightlife if they're in the hospitality field, but entrepreneurship in general. This is a wide-ranging conversation with useful nuggets to share. So, without further delay, any entrepreneur looking for ways to expand their business or get it off the ground floor should stick around to see what Maafo has to say about contributing to success in entrepreneurship. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Kofi, if you're ready, my friend, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program. And I'm super excited to learn about your entrepreneurial journey and all about the Bloom Bar, my friend. Great to see you, and thank you so very much for being here.
Thanks for having me on your platform.
Absolutely. Now, Kofi, I know that you're the co-founder of the Bloom Bar, which is an award-winning cocktail bar. You started with your business partner in Ghana, my friend. So I'm wondering if you can tell me about the venture and why you decided to start it, my friend.
Well, I would just like to say we started this as a passion. It's a passion project. We had been very interested in doing something to make change as well with our passion. We identified the opportunities to do something different back in Accra, Ghana. And in doing our research, we seized the opportunity and actually went after this because the opportunity was there. We saw a space in the industry, something that was lacking for the middle income earners. And we, with our passion, we just put something together and then we went for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also curious to ask you about the economic and personal impact you've had on your economy back there in Ghana, because I know it's been well received. So tell me about the economic and personal impact of your endeavors back home, my friend.
Um, it was economic impact and personal impact is quite great. These are two very big questions. The I will start on the economic side of things. So with the economic impact, I would say we confidently we can say we revolutionized an entire space, a space that majority of educated people would not really want to venture because the numbers did not make sense for a lot of people. It wasn't a very prestigious job to do as a graduate from university. Saying that you're going into a space to go and sell food and drinks really didn't make sense for a lot of people because we've been programmed to believe that the suit and tie is the way and the lab coats were the way. So we going in that space and making it a very attractive job to do brought a lot of people into that space to make investments and want to do what we are doing. So we became the blueprint of in our time of the kind of restaurant and bar to set up. So we did make that economic impact by joining a lot of younger people who wanted that blueprint to be able to emulate and set up their own businesses. So quite a number of bars have copied what we've done. Quite a number of bars have taken our blueprint and opened in different cities within the capital inside and within the country as well, in different regions, and have made, I've created a lot of jobs for a lot of people and taken it to the next level. With the personal impact, the business had opened my eyes to what could be, and also inspired me as an entrepreneur to pursue, the next level of my dreams, which is to take what we are doing in the hospitality space and imbue it with our culture and send it to the rest of the world. So that has been the personal impact for me. Being able to take what we're doing in Ghana and bringing it to the United States is a very big deal. And that's what we've been able to do. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up your expansion to the U.S., and I know Bloom Bar is about to open their first U.S.-based location in Atlanta, my friend. And I also know that you've been recognized with awards, with the Best Nightlife Awards received and the Best Game Changer Awards as well that you've received back home in Ghana, my friend, when you were ranked one of Ghana's favorite places or most visited places and destinations to visit, my friend. So tell me about the expansion to the U.S., what you're looking forward to doing in Atlanta, and what do the awards mean to you, my friend?
We received those awards in the early part of our venture. These awards were as far back as 2018, and I would say that it did motivate us to know that we had something really good, and it kept us, very level-headed because knowing that we had something good, we had to make sure we can sustain it and take it to the rest of the world. Now, what happened was we got to a point where we believed that we had tapped in our economy, like the market had reached a certain point where we had given what we could to the market and we were not seeing any kind of growth within the space again because we had peaked. And it happens in spaces, it happens in different markets. So what you do is you want to expand your market or figure a way to go to a new market space. And that is what kind of inspired that move to the United States. Bearing in mind that we grew up, traveling between the States and Ghana, so we had the opportunity to experience service here and then experience hospitality here in the States. So it felt like the next home and where we would take our business to. So that kind of inspired the expansion. And that expansion has taken place since last year. January, we came into the States and then we secured the location. And over the period, we've been able to do our construction and go through everything that we've been able to go through. And we're happy we're about to get our place open in a few days. So that's where we are with the expansion.
Well, I congratulate you on almost completing the expansion, my friend. And as an international business owner, Kofi, I'm also curious to get your thoughts on how you define the word opportunity as it relates to entrepreneurship. What does the word opportunity mean to you, my friend?
They always say opportunity is when preparation meets the right time, right? So uh, I kind of believe in that because what you go through today and how it builds you and the lessons you learn from it is one thing, but your ability to take these lessons, process them, and be able to spot an opportunity is it kind of comes down to you as an individual because people sit by and opportunities just walk past right in front of them and they don't realize it. So you being able to take your lessons as an entrepreneur, take your lessons as a person, and with your ambition, keeping your eyes open to see where you can apply that to make a change or a difference in your life. It's the most important thing. So when you identify the right time and the right space to make that difference with the lessons you've learned, for me, that is an opportunity to make change. So that is how I would define my opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kofi, I'm wondering if we can talk about how to successfully integrate, cultural fusion cuisine and an atmosphere from West Africa into your business ventures, my friend. How do you think you've been able to do that successfully time after time, my friend? What do you think the secret is there?
Um, I recently had a conversation with someone and she said something quite profound. She said when we use the word fusion, we tend to water down the authentic nature of things. So I tend to kind of now want to stay away from the word fusion because authenticity has become the next cool thing. Having something very authentic is what is most sought after now because a lot of people have done the fusion because they were scared to bring the entire idea into being and try to please different parts or probably also ease people into accepting and change. But I believe that it's gotten to a time where people are ready for the change and people want something authentic and something different. So we are not a fusion. We are authentic in what we are presenting when it comes to the vibe that we create, when it comes to the food that our cuisine, our choice of cuisine, when it comes to our drinks, when it comes to the music being played, that creates the entire ambience. We are bringing that authentic vibe and offering with what we are doing. So that is my take on what you had to say about fusion.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's flip the script and talk about business authenticity, my friend. I know that you've had experience building successful businesses and having different perspective on entrepreneurship. So, what do you think is the key for people to know about successfully establishing successful business practices, and how is it related to authenticity in your view?
Sorry, can you come again with a question? I want to get it well.
Yeah, I'm just curious to get your definition on what it truly means to have authenticity in business. I know that you've ran a lot of successful businesses both in Africa and the United States. So I'm curious to get your take on what it means to run a business with authenticity. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. So what is authenticity again in running the business is what I explained. Like you pick the product. What are you offering? You're offering food and drinks. At the same time, these days in your space for a bar and a restaurant, the ambience plays a very big role. The entire experience plays a big role. So when people are coming into the space, the point of contact, which is even from your website, the point of contact from your social media platforms, the point of contact when they get there, which is the reception, all of that are an embodiment of what you represent. And being authentic comes from there because everything that people can read and see about you should project what you really are. And if you are not authentic in any of these areas, it shows because people can see that when they look at what you have and they can easily just compare you to something else, it's almost as if you copy it. You don't have your own blueprint, right? So having the opportunity to build something which is purely you and being authentic, it's not very, it's a thing like between it being very difficult and it being easy, but it's it's not very difficult because it's just really being you and giving people what you believe is clearly you. That gives it that authenticity. Okay. So we take our products and we create the things that are authentic to our culture. If it's ingredients that are being used, we are not trying to go and use ingredients that are not us. We would use the actual things. We'll ship it in. We'll use it to cook the meat. We'll use it to cook and create a product that gives you the authentic flavors. So when you go back to where it was created and you taste it, you realize that this just tastes like traveling all the way back to Ghana, West Africa, and trying this. But you can have it here as well, and that gives it that authentic, feel as well. So it's just an idea of what I mean by authenticity.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kofi, I'm curious to ask you about creating diverse opportunities for individuals with disabilities, particularly, specifically in the hospitality space, because there are a lot of opportunities for folks with disabilities and special needs to sort of spread their wings and thrive in that environment. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on the importance of infusing folks with disabilities into the workforce. What are your thoughts there?
I totally agree. We 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 haven't in the current business model really incorporated uh, disability, but we work with people who have disabilities. One of my guys who does my artwork that creates my stuff for me um, is autistic, but he does the most beautiful painting. We have paintings in our space, and in supporting what he does, all our paintings within the space now, he's the one that made these things for us. And we use all his art in our space because he does very unique art. And that is a way to also support people with disabilities. People, they have products, they are able to make things or come up with ideas that we can incorporate into our space. These are ways that we support their businesses and also put money in their hands and then incorporate them into our line of work. So yes, it's something that we do, and it's something that we're also passionate about because um, yeah, everybody has something unique to offer. That's how I see things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Kofi, I know that the term elevated hospitality is big for you. So, how do you define that, my friend? What does elevated hospitality mean to you?
Elevator hospitality for me, um, I'll just put it in plain words, is modernized hospitality, and I would break it down in this manner. Um, there is a perception that was created about what comes from Africa. Over the years, what has come from Africa has often been looked down on or frowned on. And we've found a way to improve, which is again elevate what we do to bring it to the level of where the West is at. Okay. So it's still being authentic in how we do our things. At the point, the West were ahead of what was being done. We've been able to bring what we do to that level. So it's just the word is just there to remind people who are embracing what we are bringing in is that we have brought it to the level, we've elevated it, and it is something to look forward to try. Just to remind them that it is not things behind or in the past, and that we brought it to a top level for them to try. So that is what elevation here just means or symbolizes.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we look at nightlife specifically, I'm curious to ask you about succeeding in the nightlife space specifically as we move into a new generation of business, and how can we appeal to the widest, greatest swath of people within the nightlife space? What are your thoughts there?
So, sorry, come again. How do we appeal to?
I'm just curious, how do we appeal to the widest amount of people with the changing landscape in business? How do you think we can adapt to change to appeal to the more or the broadest amount of people?
Well, I was having a conversation once again with someone, and I was telling them that hospitality is one of the thing where, be it hotel, be it bar, be it restaurant, it really comes down to a preference of the target audience. You can build something for a specific target audience, but they might not be the people that patronize the business the most. And you cannot really say you're doing something to appeal to a wider target. You can have that vision, you can have that plan, but the market really determines what is more appealing. So your ability to adapt to change is what create that growth in the market space for you. Because when you put your product out there and you test the product, you need to be quick to check what the interaction with the product is, and how are people responding to the product, and what kind of people are responding to the product. So statistics are very important now. And then based off of those statistics, if you had to make certain changes or certain tweaks on the product, you do that to be able to appeal to a wider target audience. So that is how I would go about it.
Yeah, and Kofi, I know that you've prioritized contributing to the business development community in Africa and Ghana, specifically working across multiple industries, my friend, including agriculture and fitness and hospitality since about 2011. So tell me why this mission is important to you, my friend.
Change. That's the thing for me. My motivation is different, and my motivation has changed at every point in time in my life. At a certain point, it was to just put food on the table. When you get to a certain point, you want to help people like yourself that are trying to put food on the table. And then at a certain point, you want to be able to change and impact more lives, and then help people who are going through probably the same thing and didn't have the same opportunities, have access to these opportunities and help them, grow. So for me, that has been my motivation throughout all the industries that I've gone through. Each space has built me for something different. And each space I have learned different lessons I've been able to apply in the next stage of my life. So moving through from industry to industry, and having to interact with different people, there's still one thing: making the change and impacting every space that I find myself in. That has been, the motivation for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Kobe, I'm curious for anyone watching this who may want to enter the entrepreneurial space, what do you think the key is to duplicating success in business? What would you tell them uh, to be sort of the principles of success when we want to duplicate prosperity in business? What are your thoughts there?
I would say that you are your own competition. And I say that because each day is a day to make or improve yourself. If you get into the space and you look at others, you'd always find someone who is better than you. The most important thing is to look at how you improve yourself to write your own story and write your own journey. So you adding to yourself every day, you building on yourself every day to get stronger, to get wiser, to move through your own journey is what matters the most. You don't have to look at others and give yourself that competition, because if you do that, you will be giving yourself probably too much pressure. Yes, you can draw inspiration from others, but you are your big competition. So that is the advice that I would give.
Yeah, absolutely. And my friend, I know that your cultural heritage is important to you, and so something that grounds you each and every day. So tell me about why you're proud of where you come from and why you take that with you each and every day.
Because I believe that where I'm from made me who I am, and build the kind of mentality that I have, which is to be a very helpful person. Um, Coming from a space where we have we've lacked in a lot and have had to create our own stories through hard work. Um, every day that I've made progress in my journey means a lot to me. Okay, and I carry that with me because my culture has built me in terms of humility, in terms of being prayerful, in terms of anything that makes me stronger to go through this journey of being an entrepreneur. So I carry that with me just so I don't forget who I am. That is my identity. So I carry myself with me all the time just to remind myself that this is me and this is how I got here. So I don't forget that.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, Kofi, I'm curious, do you have like a life motto or how you define prosperity in your own life? So how do you define prosperity and what's your life motto, my friend? I'm curious to get your answer there.
It's been a very interesting question for me because the question has always been how much more is more for me, and each time I've grown better in life, I've realized that our our yearning is unending. If you're looking for once, it's never ending. And for me, prosperity at every stage of success is what I find as fulfillment. Okay. So if my life is able to impact others and I'm able to do things in the life of others and I'm making change around me, I feel very fulfilled. And that for me is prosperity. If I find myself in any space and I'm able to make it better, I think I'm prosperous. I think I'm successful. And I've become very content over the years, realizing that money does a lot, but it's not everything. So for me, prosperity for me is not defined by money. No, it is defined by the impact that I make with the people I meet in my journey. So that is it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, my final question has to do with your own individual, personal, and professional legacy, my friend, and how do you want that to be defined? And secondarily, how do you define joy in life, my friend? What would be your answer there?
So how do I define what?
How do you define joy, and how do you want your legacy to be defined?
That's a very deep question. Joy for me is deep within, and I it's very interesting. But whenever I'm content with what I have peace of mind. I'm in a place of peace, and I find joy. Whenever I try to do things out of my reach and I make it frustrate me, and I'm trying to go for things in a way or in a manner that is not me, it affects my energy and it takes joy away. So I've come to learn over the years that joy for me comes when I have peace of mind. And peace of mind is being able to understand the boundaries of being content. So once I'm content and I just keep working and I enjoy what I do, I'm always joyful. I'm quite happy. And that has been it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we look at your legacy from a 360-degree view, I'm curious, how do you want your legacy in business and life to be defined?
Uh, when I look at my vision board, I would say that we started building the legacy um, when we started making changes in Ghana and creating a whole path for the youth who did not believe in the space of hospitality and creating a whole change in the trajectory of how business was perceived in that space. So if I sit here and look back and see the impact that we've made, firstly, we even hope that they don't forget that we made that change and they see that we made that impact not because money was the motivation, but it was because we wanted to make changes in the life of a lot of people. So legacy for us is leaving something behind that strengthens and emboldens an entire generation to go for what they believe in and know that it was because my business partner and I, with very limited resources, were always able to fight the odds and not let where we are from define how far we go. And a lot of people have that challenge. Let them know that where you find yourself should never define how far you go, but they should look at how we fought through all the adversities, no matter the limitations, and be able to just learn from us and just always, keep going for what they believe because it's possible. There's always a way around limitations.
Yeah, absolutely. And just based on your last answer, I'll follow up with a final follow up, my friend. I'm curious to ask you about how you define the concept of resilience. What do you think that concept means to you?
Well, resilience is really just going tough skin every time you go through something and not letting it put you down, And if you don't have resilience, you cannot be an entrepreneur because it's never going to be handed to you spoon in hand. No, it's never going to happen that way. So what do your lessons do to you? Do they build you so you build tough skin and keep moving? If you can learn the lessons, you build resilience because you're going to face another adversity bigger than even the first one. And your ability to apply your strength at every stage in your lessons keeps building the resilience. And that is how I define it.
Absolutely. And Kofi, finally, tell me if people want to get connected with you personally or the Bloom Bar. What's the best way they can do that?
They can reach us on info at bloom, BLOOMBARGH.com, info at bloombargh.com. They can send us emails there, or they can find us at Bloom Bar Atlanta on Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, Kofi, I really respect the barriers that you've broken and overcome in the field of entrepreneurship and the true difference you're making in hospitality, my friend. I want to thank you for the good work that you're doing in the space and for agreeing to engage in conversation with me this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
You're welcome. You had very thought-provoking and intriguing questions, and I appreciate the interview. Thank you very much.